Imagine wars of fire, morning skies as black at night, eye-stinging and breathtaking smoke, scorching earth and hot winds. These are the memories that haunt people like smoke residue 30 years after the historic Yellowstone National Park wildfire. Hello guys, it's me again, JT from X Science, and today we are going to talk about the wildfires in Yellowstone in 1988. Now it's 2018, exactly 30 years after this tragedy. Have you ever wondered what does it look like now, after a circle of life? Let's take a look. In 1988, almost 40% of Yellowstone National Park was burned to the ash in what was, at the time, one of the biggest, most significant wildland fires in American history. Yellowstone is famous, iconic, a symbol of United States sightseeing in preserving and protecting wild environments, animals, and natural features. A land visualized all over the world with its vast high mountain wilderness, diversities of wildlife, and many geothermal features. So when it seems to be turning to Stone Age in that unusual summers of fire, or so-called Black Saturdays, the entire world watched and read the news report in awe, disbelief, fear, and with a deep curiosities about what the futures of the park might be. Yellowstone was feared would be terminated. It was thought would never be the same. A unique place symbolizing Americans' effort to preserve wild places would be forever lost. Jump forward to 2018, the 30 years anniversary of those fires, and it's evident that Yellowstone National Park continues to thrive, adapt, and overcome as it always has, and that part of the change has always included frames. The species that inhabit the park has long adapted to wildfire, and humans there too. People now learn that the positive results of the fire in Yellowstone include opening up the xerodeous cones of the longer pole pines, allowing for new trees to grow. Additionally, fires open up forest canopies to allow new plant communities to flourish. The fires also release nutrients from fallen trees and dead flora, which increase the productivity of the land. The animals in the parks, on the other hand, were largely unaffected by the flames, and many benefited after the fact. The burns created new feeding opportunities for birds and grazing animals, as well as the species that preys upon them. The 88 fire was a reaffirmation that fire was what this landscape needed, and it was a great opportunity to get that message out, says John Carter, Yellowstone Fire Management Officials. Of course, there are many changes, but Yellowstone is a dynamic landscape. Nothing stays the same after 30 years, even without the fires. And fire will surely return, especially as summers grow longer, hotter, drier, and contain more lightning strikes than ever. What seems evident is that although the Yellowstone fires of 1988 was dramatic, they was only a signal of what was to come. In 2012, in Montana alone, 1.1 million acres burned, while the nation saw almost 8 million acres consumed by wildland fires. Firefighting cost the Forest Service alone total about $1 billion. Already this year, almost 3,400,000 acres has already burned to date, an area a little smaller than the state of Connecticut. So wildland fire is here to stay on the western landscape. More fires will burn in Yellowstone, but the burns are no longer viewed as catastrophic to the landscape. Different plants will sprout in the ashes. Different trees and bushes will grow, but it is part of a natural cycle, one that people visiting Yellowstone National Park can see with their own eyes. So it's all for today. As usual, thank you for spending time with us. don't forget to like and subscribe to support our good work. It means a lot to me and the whole crew. Goodbye, and see you soon in the next video of X-Science. One day, Yellowstone National Park can be burned to ashes. Hello guys, it's JT from X-Science again, and today we are talking about the tremendous fires in 1988 in Yellowstone National Park. Yes, we all know about the destructive aspect of this wildfire, but today I come with a warning. This tragedy could happen again if conditions were perfectly horrible. However, you see, even though Yellowstone National Park could be at risk of experiencing another fire season that rivals the record-setting 1988 burn, when about 1,200 square miles were charred, it won't be easy. One problem is that scars from the 1988 fires are acting as fire breaks, slowing down burns as the fuel type changes from major log pine into newer growth, and sometimes even meadows. It's well under 5% of any summer where we have the extreme condition that the 88 fire scar will carry fire, said John Cotterdo, a fire management officer for the park. As with everything though, we all know there are exceptions. In August 2016, the maple fires broke out in the western corner of the park. By the time it was extinguished, the fire has burned more than 71 square miles and costed more than $6.2 million to suppress. We can say that the maple fire was the descendant of the 1988 Black Saturday fires. It burns to portions of the North Fork's fire scar from 1988. But the 2016 summer was so dry that last log contains less than 10% moisture, Cotterdo said. Similar to kiln-dried lumber, those logs have carried the fire through the old burns and onto the mature forest, which was unusual, he added. Typically, the scars have acted almost like fire breaks. We generalize about the 88 fire scar, but within that, they are all different instances, he explained. Those areas that burn most intensely aren't carrying fire very well. We really need that death and down component to carry fire. What the cause of the burns is, you might wonder, considering the fact that Yellowstone National Park has strict rules for fire control, especially with the case of campers who travel to Yellowstone every summer. It was, and still be, lightning, according to the spokesman of the park. Although Yellowstone doesn't track lightning strike, it's not unusual for the park to receive from 50 to 150 strikes in a 24-hour period, Cotterdo said. What it really comes down to is if we have any moisture associated with those storms, he added. The maple fire was lightning caused. In that year's 2016, 109 square miles burned inside Yellowstone. The following years, in 2017, the park has high fire dangers with many lightning strikes, but most of the storms carried enough rain to limit the fire starts. Out of 8 fires that year, only 2 were lightning caused, and both stayed less than an hour in size. The rest was all human causes, but also did not exceed an hour in size. Yellowstone suppresses all human causes fires because values were threatened, but actively managed those caused by lightning strikes to allow them to perform their natural role in the ecosystem. What had changed during the past 100 years is the climate in Yellowstone and across much of the West. More and more hot and dry conditions are becoming the norm, starting the fire season earlier in the spring, leaving forests drier throughout the summers and extending the seasons later into the fall. Fire season in the West lengthened by an average of 78 days between 1970s and 2015, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. There have been a lot of warm, dry seasons in the last 15 or 20 years. There's no doubt about it, said Andrew Norman, Richard Tetton National Forest Wi-Fi specialist. And we are seeing more fires, more and larger fires on the forest in '88. In the past, firefighters could expect cooler nighttime temperature to raise the humidity, causing flame to die down in the early morning, providing a chance to fight the fires before they started growing again by mid-morning. Today, overnight temperatures aren't dropping that much, allowing fires to rage through the night. Well, fortunately, the Americans have a freezing winter. At some point, it's going to snow and put out any fires. Summing up, we know that though it's quite hard for the 1988 fires to happen again, if it does, it would be even more severe than the past. I guess if there would be another Black Saturdays in the next 10 years, we couldn't count on firefighters to control it. Just let Mother Nature do her job. Fires reinforce how small we are as human beings on the planet and how powerful the forces of nature are. So it's all for today. As usual, thank you for spending time with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support our good work. It means a lot to me and the whole crew. Goodbye, and see you soon in the next videos of X Science.